This is a preview of one of our Patreon bonus episodes. If you like what you hear, you can get access to all of our bonus episodes by supporting us on Patreon at the $1 tier.
Hello and welcome to a very special Patreon bonus episode.
What?
Are you sad about this one?
Everyone's there. No, I love this.
Where's the
This is a
excitement?
great topic.
The pressure got him.
I can't handle it at all.
Yeah, and in this bonus episode, we're going to be talking about some of our favorite martial art movies, but really we're giving people advice. So if you want to get into martial arts, we're going to go over some recommendations.
Not into practicing martial
Not
arts.
into, the martial arts movies.
Movies,
Yes.
yes.
Uh,
We're on brand today. Series and films, we're on brand.
Yeah, today we're on brand.
Yep.
Not every day.
Not every day.
Yeah, so we'll have some recommendations for things you should watch if you're wanting to get into these type of movies.
If you've never seen a single one before.
Yeah.
like starting from square one, and
Yeah.
then maybe some stuff if you kind of like martial arts movies or you're a little bit aware, some other stuff you should check out, and then we may get into some like guilty pleasures and deep cuts,
Cuts,
Mhm.
yeah.
things of that nature.
Get a
All
little
right.
weird with it.
First off, thank you for your support. Without your support as patrons, we wouldn't be able to do
What we
This.
do, yeah.
weird episodes like the one we're doing now.
Yeah.
That we're going to have a lot of fun with.
Or even just the mainline episodes, right? Hosting
any
fees
of
are
it,
real.
Any of it, yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much
Yes.
for all of the support and your money, obviously. But seriously, yeah, it's always fun to be able to get to do some more off-brand stuff.
Even though this is very on brand today.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is. Yeah, but
Okay, so let's kick things off. I want to hear from Steven first. So
Oh,
what is one
interesting.
of your recommendations for somebody who's just getting into like
All right.
I am aware of martial arts movies. I want to get into them.
Yep.
Where do you
Okay,
think somebody
I
should
may have
start?
gone far afield for my intro
Mm-hmm.
to martial arts movies, but it felt so obvious I had to take it.
okay.
The Pianist. How far
No.
afield are we talking?
Well, no. Well,
Okay.
Kung Fu Panda.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
Right?
Interesting. I didn't even think about that.
So that's
All right.
that's kind of why I was concerned that y'all are gonna steal. You just be like Jackie Chan, Jackie Chan, Jackie Chan. I was like,
Schindler's
No,
List.
that's
What?
great.
I was
That's a
like,
great.
I've got a
Yeah.
Jackie Chan that y'all aren't gonna think of.
Yeah.
So again, the movie stars a lot of martial arts voice actors,
Yeah.
Mhm.
which is kind of fun. It has a ton of what you're going to get in terms of martial arts tropes, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It actually has some pretty baller fights.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, and the
That fight-
animation's quite good.
The animation's good.
Yeah.
The fight on the bridge, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. And
Oh
then
yeah.
I think
That's
honestly,
a good pick, actually.
right?
It- yeah.
Like if you were
It's like
coming
a dark
in,
horse.
I know. I didn't even think about
if
that.
you are coming in, like again, as cold, you just woke up this year, you've been in a coma for some reason for forever. You've never seen a martial arts film before, and they're just like, well, let's ease into it.
yeah.
This is, it's almost kind of like a gateway drug for kids, right? It's like, yeah, you
Sure.
like that? Check out some Jackie Chan, huh, kid? Yeah, I got
so
some
it's been
DVDs.
a long time since I've seen it. Is it too much of a kids movie?
No,
Or is it, it's
no,
pretty
it's
entertaining?
really-
Okay.
it really
there's
isn't.
some really solid comedy in
It's-
there.
I felt like it was, but again, it's been a long time
Yeah.
And
since I
it's
watched
got honestly, it's got a great message.
it. Yeah.
It's really heartfelt. I think it's got a great training montage, which again, staple of martial
you
arts.
gotta have
the
a
music
training
is quite
montage.
good.
The music's good.
Voice acting's fantastic. Jack
Fantastic.
Black.
The
as-
animation's
as
great.
Poe.
Yeah. Like when I was going through this and thinking about it, I was like, man, how can this not be
Man,
on the
that,
list?
That is such a good pick.
right?
Yeah, that's not on my list anywhere.
Yeah,
and
no, I didn't
that's-
even think
that's
about
a
it.
good,
I,
that's
like
a good
at this
shot.
point, I almost wish you would go and be last, so y'all could make sure it's like, yeah, that's nice, nerds. But let me introduce you.
Damn.
So yeah,
Steven's starting strong
Two-
over here.
2008, Kung Fu Panda is DreamWorks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
There-
feel like it's pretty available, pretty easy
It
to
is.
find.
I'm pretty sure it's on
streaming-wise.
Netflix.
I think it's on Netflix. Let me-
There's something Kung Fu
But,
Panda
well,
related is on Netflix,
so-
but it
so
might be a
now, I
Netflix
will
is
say
the
there
other-
have been multiple. So that's also another thing I think that's in its favor.
Yeah.
Is if you really like it, there are I think 4 Kung Fu Pandas
And
now.
apparently they're all
Yeah.
not bad.
I haven't
uh,
seen anything past the first
so-
one, but I've heard good stuff.
Yeah.
The second one I feel like isn't as good as the first. I think the third one's quite good though.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
haven't seen the fourth, but let me just real quick Kung Fu Panda streaming just so we can see how accessible it is. But yeah, so
Okay, well, while he does that,
While he does that, let's move over to
Yeah.
Andrew.
Okay,
What is one of
Hulu,
your
okay.
recommendations?
Hulu.
Hulu? Okay.
Yeah. So I think that's a good
So
start.
my first recommendation, this is live action, not animation,
Get wrecked, nerd.
is actually Rush Hour.
Okay.
All right, that was on my list.
I think Rush Hour, the
Mhm.
first one, not
Mhm.
the subsequent one, but I think the first Rush Hour is actually quite good and a good entry into Jackie Chan's
absolutely.
specific style.
Mhm.
You get some really fun comedy in there. Now, some of it may not have aged as well over the years.
I think it's mostly okay.
It's
Just given
mostly
given
okay.
the people, if it were different actors making these jokes,
yeah,
it'd be like, ooh.
yeah. But yeah, it's really really fun. The they do, because this was Jackie Chan's first American produced role in a
Mhm.
film. Like they do a pretty decent job of showing what he can do. Unfortunately, over here in the U.S., the stunt teams and stuff just aren't martial arts trained.
Well, I was gonna say, like, the big caveat I would put on that is, like, if that's your first, is like the action in other Jackie Chan movies is arguably way better.
Oh, 100%
It's
better.
also
So
very-
don't
a
take
very
this
different
movie as a
feel.
judgment of like,
Yeah.
oh, this is what a Jackie Chan movie is. Yeah, the fights were okay.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
But,
But this kind of has the whole package.
Yeah,
It
it does.
has a lot of
It does.
fun. It's really easy to get into for Western audiences. And yeah, I mean, like it's definitely one of those where we'll throw it on and just have it in the background, and it's a good film.
Yeah, I love Chris Tucker.
Yeah.
I think obviously he's a nightmare to work with because he just kind of says whatever he feels like on screen, and that has like obvious production issues of Chris. We've been here 6 hours. Say the right line.
Say the
say the
line.
words, man.
But it does lead to some great bloopers, which all Jackie
Yes.
Chan films will have really good bloopers at the end.
Yeah.
hmm
But I do think it does kind of give you, again, a westernized version of a
Yes.
Jackie Chan film. But most Jackie Chan, right, it's different from like a Bruce Lee where he has a lot of comedy already built into his fights.
Yeah,
And
Mhm.
it's situational. It's maybe not quite what Chris Tucker is, but I think
it's not slapstick.
right. But I think you get a good feel for it in Rush Hour, and then you can go either way. You can go more Western, where it's more of a comedy martial
Mhm.
arts, or you could be like, well, what else does he do, and kind of back up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good. That was also on my list. So
Yeah.
I think that's a good jumping off point.
hmm
Okay, I'm
Ryan?
gonna play off of that then and kind of rearrange my list a little bit here. I'm gonna go with Rumble in the Bronx.
Oh,
Yeah.
man,
This
that's
is
a-
the first Jackie Chan movie I ever saw,
Okay.
Mhm.
and I saw it in theater when it came out.
Yep.
In I think it was 95.
Mhm.
And I remember like knowing a little bit about Jackie Chan before that, just from
Yeah.
my uncle.
Mhm.
He had watched some kind of Jackie Chan movie on like HBO or Showtime or something, and it was probably one of the
Legends of Drunken Master
one
or
of those,
something.
yeah.
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 But really, the Jackie Chan movies were not very prevalent over here until after Rumble in the Bronx. Rumble in the Bronx was like this
His kinda
inflection
first,
point
yeah.
where like it was dubbed, so
Mhm.
it's like they take the
The original.
version, they dub it in
Yeah.
English. But like before that, it was very hard to find anything except for like a specialty.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, because after
store or
Rumble in the
something.
Bronx, they came out with like First Strike,
First Strike,
Yeah.
Police
Super Cop.
Story, Super Cop. All those hit like bang, bang, bang.
Yep.
yeah,
right after.
real quick too. Real
But
quick
yeah,
turnaround.
Rumble in the Bronx to me is like really good because there's a lot of comedy. I think you get better action than in
Oh,
something like
100%,
Rush
yeah.
Hour. And it's still technically set in America. I think it was filmed in Vancouver, maybe.
Yeah, it
was.
Or a lot of it was. But like to me, the story is easy to follow, and you get a better sense of like the Jackie Chan style action and stunts.
You
and
get a
stuff.
fantastic sequence of him basically fighting in like this gang's kind of hideout.
Oh, yeah,
with
that
these
fight.
refrigerators and stuff. Like, oh man,
So now,
Yeah.
phenomenal fight.
was Rumble in the Bronx the movie where he broke his ankle?
Yeah,
Yeah.
jumping
He-
onto
he'd
the
jump
the
onto like a
boat.
hovercraft.
Yeah.
And so like they just filmed a bunch of scenes of him running where they were pushing him in a wheelchair and he's just pumping his arms because he was like in a cast.
Yeah, he's got like he basically had a sock that would go over his cast that looked like a tennis shoe, and they continued filming a bunch of stuff
Yeah.
Yep.
without that. Yeah, so mine would be Rumble in the Bronx. I think that's a really good Jackie Chan entry point that gets you enough of the comedy of
Yeah.
Jackie Chan's comedy
Mhm.
and the action. To me, it was my entry point for Jackie Chan, and
Yeah.
to me, I think it's a really good one for anybody.
Yeah.
All right, Steven, what's another one you got?
All right. Well, I'm not going to be as inventive as I was with my first. I
That's
used
fine.
up all of my
You
creativity.
came out hard.
So I'm actually going to continue the trend here, and I'm going to say First Strike
Ooh,
with
interesting.
Jackie Chan. So that is the first Jackie Chan movie that I saw,
Okay.
and I think where its appeal hits really well
Mm-hmm.
is because the plot of it is almost kind of like the sideline to a Bond story in a lot of ways.
Hmm.
I think for a lot of people, if you enjoy like Bond movies or spy movies, this is another easy avenue to get in where you get that kind of plot line, but you get the martial arts, right? And like I think the fight with the ladder,
Yeah, I was gonna say
The ladder fight is the one I
is-
always. That's what I
Yeah.
picture with First Strike is the
Yep.
ladder fight.
Yeah, which is that I think is really one of the first big sequences that a lot of people in the U.S. saw.
it got a lot
where
of
like
press.
that is his style.
Yeah.
Of
Yes.
like picking up stuff that is just situational to where he's fighting at
Yeah,
and using it to his
His
benefit.
advantage, yeah.
Yeah.
And like again, I saw it in theaters. First one I saw.
yeah.
I love that film, and I think sometimes maybe like martial arts films in general have an issue where the plot is just very basic. They just really want to get a bunch of people in a place and fight.
It's just an excuse to
Yeah.
like have a fight scene.
Yeah.
Whereas this one actually has enough plot that if you like walk out of the room, you're not going to know what's going on.
Yeah,
And I kind of like that where it feels like it's a real movie. We just also have
feels elevated a
these
little
great
bit.
fights in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my next pitch.
Okay, so I'm going to move away from Jackie Chan for a second.
Blasphemy!
And we're going to Donnie Yen,
Mm.
Ip Man.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I love this film, and it's very easy to get into. It's all subtitled. There may be a dubbed version of it, but I definitely recommend watching it in the subtitled version.
I don't know if there's a dub. I actually
There may not be. I don't know.
tried to kind of avoid subtitles as an intro.
I did too for the intro, just for that. Like I know there's
That
people
reason.
that
Yeah,
they're
hang
anti.
with it.
But
Well, I can pivot.
no,
No,
you're
no,
good.
no.
Okay.
Stick
I'm
with
just saying.
It's your opinion. We're not taking away from
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Well, so this is definitely one of those. So Donnie Yen is an incredibly fast martial artist.
He's
Yeah.
so good.
It's definitely one of those things where like Jackie Chan has his own very specific style, and if you go into something else like I'll say like Jet Li
Yeah.
or Bruce Lee or Donnie Yen, they're going to have their own unique styles of fighting of how they confront people. And Donnie Yen is fast.
He's just quick.
He's
He's
just
real
fast.
quick.
Yeah.
And the really cool thing about this film is it takes place in the I think 1920s. I think
Sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
and it's about basically the Japanese invasion
occupation.
of China
Mhm.
and or Hong Kong, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
still China.
Yeah. It was still China, but
But specifically, I think it is Hong Kong.
yeah.
Yeah.
And basically, it's him essentially like trying to start a school for his martial arts,
Mhm.
and then the trials and tribulations that kind of come with that.
Mhm.
And it's one of those where like at the end of each film, there's 4 of them out with him in it. That at the end of each one, it's always a good message.
Mhm.
And but in the process of that, you get some phenomenal fights.
Oh, yeah.
This is getting a little bit ahead, but in Ip Man 3, there's a fight of him in an elevator. Like, it's a single person elevator fighting
Yeah.
this other guy while protecting his wife at the same time
Yeah.
in this like
Confined space.
very confined space. And
Mhm.
it goes from like the elevator down these stairs back into the elevator. Like, it's just phenomenal.
So I haven't seen past 2
Oh man, you're missing out.
because they're just hard to find.
Yeah,
they
they
don't
are.
stream anywhere. You have to
They
like
they
seek
used
them
to be
out.
all over Netflix.
Yeah.
and I guess they lost the rights or something.
I think they did because they were in my queue, you
Yeah.
know, but it's like now they're gone. It's like you have to rent them, you know.
Yeah.
So question. I know that it's like loosely based
It
on
is
like stuff.
loosely based.
As the
Very
sequels come
loosely.
out, are they getting further and further from like
Um,
reality? You know what I mean?
I would-
Like,
Presumably,
I would
yes.
say so. Like, it's
Yeah.
not like exponential, but it's definitely where there are a lot of situations that happen where it's a little bit more fantastical than
Than
what,
what
the
actually
actual.
happened.
So basically, the whole thing is that Ip Man, the main character, he actually trained Bruce Lee.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's kind of where this is the story about the guy who trained Bruce
Yeah,
Lee,
that
who
was
came
like,
from
I remember
Hong
when the
Kong.
first one came out, that was kind of the hype.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
trailer was like the man that trained
Yeah.
Bruce Lee. Look at his life story.
But
type
I
thing.
think that this movie really encapsulates a lot of the great things that come out of martial arts films,
Mhm.
which is why I
Yeah.
have it on the thing because it is subtitled, and I did try and avoid that.
Yeah.
But like this one is just so good, I think it's absolutely worth your time.
It's a must watch. Like
Yeah.
if you are at any point in a martial arts film journey, it
Needs to
either,
be on your
it either
list.
It
needs
needs
to
to
be
be
on
yeah.
your journey, or you should have already watched it at this
Yeah.
point. So I love this film. One, I love Donnie Yen.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I love the martial art on display, Wing Chun.
Yeah.
And Ip Man is kind of considered like the modern grandfather of, or the grandfather of kind of modern Wing Chun. if
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
sense. Again, because he had a ton, not just Bruce Lee, he had a ton of other famous students who all went on to become grandmasters in their own
Mhm.
right, train, et cetera, et cetera. But the story's really good here.
Thanks for listening to this preview of one of our Patreon bonus episodes. If you like what you heard, you can hear the rest of this episode and get access to all of our other bonus episodes for just $1. Go to patreon.com/spoilersintendedpodcast.